Alrighty. Let's go straight into another rock to point video. Alright? This time that's black butter. Some of my favorite. I might as well enjoy the process while I'm at it. I just took a lunch break, or a dinner break, or a supper break, or a second lunch. Yeah. So yeah, this is by the way it looks like black butter. And my friend Eric, I think it's Eric, forgive me, I don't have a good memory. Anyway, I'm looking forward to breaking into this piece. Obviously he tested it before he sent it to me, which is very, very considerate. Yes, yes, yes. Very nice. And I don't know, did I knock that one off? I think I actually knocked a spall off of this one. I seem to remember the wavy at the end thing. Yeah. There's some streaks in it though, so it's not perfect. Streaks. Some of you guys can find these nodules of obsidian in rock shops. They might have one this big. They might charge you an arm and a leg for this size. Yeah, they'll tell you a big story like, yeah, I hiked uphill both ways in the winter. That's why it costs, you know, tons and tons of money. Yeah, no, they had an ATV with a big old special basket for stone. You know, with a covered little cabin on their ATV. Just cruising out there. Maybe they have a little trailer in the back. They don't got no problems. They just say they do. Yeah. Yeah, if you're a rock hound, you got your ways. You got your ways to get the stone without much trouble. Unless you know, you had a few brewskis and then tip it over. Yeah. Are there laws against ATVing while under the influence? I don't know. I know there's boating laws, I think, now. But there's a lot of boaters out there that boat under the influence. There's a lot of cracks on this side. Although, you know, I got a nice flake. I could just trim that around the edges and I got an arrowhead already. Or I just mount it on the shaft just like that. Let's see. With enough glue, just mount it. Yeah. Beautiful. Did they used to do that back in the day? I just read not long ago. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was looking for Armenian arrowheads. Apparently they used mostly bone arrowheads in Armenia, and the Armenian obsidian, the beautiful Armenian obsidian, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this stuff, you don't see it very well in this light, but this stuff is beautiful and easy to knap, just like this black butter. It's a very similar consistency to the black butter. Anyway, I looked it up and they used the beautiful obsidian just in blade form like this, just blades. Apparently. And they made their arrowheads out of bone. Yeah. I could not find except a few Armenian arrowheads, but they were on the Iranian side. I think Armenia is close to the northern border of Iran. Something like that. Armenia is close to the Fertile Crescent also. So I looked at Fertile Crescent arrowheads, and apparently most of the arrowheads were made of bone. I couldn't find very many that were chipped. there was a bunch of them like this too, where it looks like they were mounted to arrows, but they're just slightly modified pointed flakes. There's microliths also in that area, and there's also sickle blades, sickle, S-I-C-K-L-E. Yeah, made of obsidian. There's obsidian sickle blades and chert and flint sickle blades in the area later on in the Neolithic. Before that, there are Neanderthal campsites with Neanderthal tools. But I looked and looked and looked. I could not find any Armenian arrowheads that were not bone. So there you go. I think that might answer that question, but I know some of you guys out there have more knowledge on that stuff, so I'll wait for you guys to correct me. No, look, dude, there's tons of Armenian arrowheads. Look at them all. And I'll go, dang, I didn't look at that website. Where'd you find it? Oh, you gotta know the Armenian language. Yeah, see? Yeah. Or you gotta go to the Armenian museum website and look at their displays. But you gotta know the Armenian language. Yeah. Somebody out there knows. I know they know. They're always out there. A lot of guys with lots of knowledge watching videos. And hopefully there's a guy out there that wants to show off. So show off here in the comment section and tell us how much you know. Yes, yes, yes. We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know about Armenian arrowheads. Believe it or not. And while you're at it, how about from Georgia and Turkey and all that area too? Okay. I want to know. I want to know, why didn't they use the beautiful obsidian for arrowheads? Or did they export it all to Greece and they use that stuff over there? Because I know there's obsidian arrowheads made in Greece. I did a few of those on video. The Greeks had obsidian arrowheads. What's up, dudes? No, the Armenians are probably like, yeah, we'd rather have the money, man. Got plenty of bones. We domesticated animals early on, so we got like cow bones and goat bones and other bones, deer bones, and got plenty of bones, so that's what we made our arrowheads out of. Yeah. All right. Who am I to judge? I'm not to judge. I'm not going to judge. Some of this is not too good as far as consistency, but it feels solid. Yeah. So these cracks are not like really loose cracks. Like in some stones you can hear, like right there, there's something loose right there, because it has that weird sound. There's something loose there, but otherwise, what is that? I don't know. I wish it would come apart now instead of me having to experiment with it. Where is the crack? Oh, there it is. See, in the previous attempts, I think, you know, in testing this stuff, there was an undetached flake right there. So I was hitting right there, I was hitting here, and I was hearing that little rattling sound. Let's see now. Yeah, there you go. Solid. Good. Don't want to hit it too hard because even little bit of tapping can cause incipient cracks that will sneak up on you. It's so glossy and smooth, but it wanted to dive, which I'd rather have it dive like that than overshoot and take off the whole tip. I'd rather have it dive a little bit. That's actually a hinge, right? But it did seem to want to dive, but it's not too bad. Yeah, I've seen worse. Believe me. Also, if I keep a positive attitude, I will nap a little bit better than I normally would. So let's just hope I maintain a positive attitude. Yep. Shouldn't have to hope, man. You should just do it. Be positive, man. Get it done. Make it happen. All right. Who else is annoyed by the make it happen people? Anybody? Anybody actually like the make it happen people? I used to have a boss that would say, make it happen. Yes, sir. Make it happen. Make it so. All right, Captain. Aye, aye, Captain. All right. Positive attitude coming right up. Remember, thin the ends first. That's why I'm over here. That's why I'm not in other places. Because I could take big flakes through the middle. But ends first, remember. That's the rule. If you're going to nap the way I nap, the rule is ends first. Do I always follow my own advice? Somebody tell them. I don't always. Depends on what's bugging me. It depends on what's interfering with my positive attitude. Yeah. If it's interfering with my positive attitude, I will take care of it and then come back to the ends and make sure the ends are thinned down first. Right? Right. Cool? Yes. See, yesterday I was going to try to make as many videos as possible. Yesterday. But as luck would have it, I did some things, I ran some errands, and they turned into problems, and the problems turned into wasted time. And wasted time turned into no videos. See how that works? So I try to get all the errands done before I start videos. A lot of times it works, but many times I gotta wait until the very end of the day because errands turn into problems, and then the problems turn into wasted time, and the wasted time turns into no videos. Yeah. I do like making videos, yes I do. But don't worry, making the video is not interfering with my ability to generate a positive attitude. The things that make me upset during Flintknapping is when I snap the tips off. Yep. But I don't say cuss words. No. I just make fun of people. Yeah, I start talking smack. Yes, I do. You haven't heard me talking smack yet? Oh, you're new. You maybe watched 5 of my videos and that's it. You don't know. Somebody tell him. All right. I should smooth this out. I was really abusing this yesterday. I did do one thing late last night. Let me show you. We'll take a break for station identification. I did this last night. Late night, all-nighter. I did this off camera and I banged up my billet. Let's see, how long is this? And what is it? It's 9 7/8. This is going to be an Aztec sacrificial blade, but it's a lot more narrow than I wanted it to be. And you know why? This right here. This middle section was extremely tough. This is raw. All right. If it was heat treated, it would probably be a lot easier to knap, but it would probably have snapped in half. Anyway, it started out really wide, but I could not get past this junk here in the center. It doesn't look like junk, but this is very hard stone right there, that lighter colored stuff. So luckily I took this side back a lot and then drove flakes in. They didn't go all the way, they stopped in the middle, but I do that thing where I put the flake back in, I hit it again, so luckily it took off the rest of it, and I did the same thing again. I don't know if this was first or that one was first. Anyway, one of these was first and knocked off the rest of it by putting it back in, and the same thing happened again, so I had to put it back in, and luckily I got it done. So this will be available in the auction. I'm going to do the teeth and the eye for this. If I have time, I'll do it on video. If I'm crunched for time, I've got to do it off video so I can do it quickly. If I have time, I'll do the eye and the teeth on video. All right. So all that just to tell you that I need to smoothen this out a little bit for the obsidian so it doesn't chatter. It doesn't go along the edge as I'm trying to knap. It needs to be a little bit smoother so it will remove some nice flakes. It's nicer when it's smoother. Why? Because it is. That's it. It works for me. Maybe it doesn't work for you, but it works for me. Some of you guys can knap with a bunch of crud in the tools, little embedded rock remnants and chips and particulate matter. You're just fine with it. All right. Not talking to you. Yeah. Go look up some Armenian stuff. Yeah. While you're saying to yourself, I'm not learning nothing, man, watching this. Okay, go look up some Armenian arrowheads for us. Make yourself useful. Yep. All right. Nice flake. If I do say so myself. I'm going to save that for myself, or should I offer it to you guys? I'll probably offer it to you guys. That way you can see what is black butter. What is it? How does it nap? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Yeah. I know you want to know. It's a lot like that red mahogany obsidian. But it's better. Except for when it has streaks in it. Then it's not so great. But as long as it doesn't have streaks in it, it ends up napping quite well. And there's a lot of spots in here that don't have streaks, and they're really, really nice flakes. I can make a really nice arrow point out of that, or atlatl dart point. Some real atlatl dart points are not very large, believe it or not. You know, they're only 2 inches long or less. So I've seen atlatl dart points in the archaeological record that were from the Archaic period and early Paleo, late Paleo. Small, they're small, and some even Paleo. Small at little dark points. So don't worry, you'll still be within range, even though some of these flakes are small. If you want to make it little dark points and you want to do it like they used to do. Now, like today, everyone thinks that little dark points are big. I'm not saying they weren't, but there were some small ones. All right. How many online nappers out there on YouTube are making small at little dark points on video? Not very many? I wonder why that is. Why is that? Is there some kind of culture that focuses only on large points? Is there a consensus that we should be teaching guys how to make only large points? There's some kind of weird consensus out there, isn't there? I'm going to make a replica of an little dart point that looks the same size as an arrow point. How's that? Not on this, but in a future video, if I can remember. Yeah, that's a tall order. If I don't write it down right away. But I'll remember, because that's one of my pet peeves, I talk smack about people who think that they're teaching you how they used to do it back in the day, but they're not making stuff like they did back in the day, or they're not making them to the right size. They're not looking at the artifacts, in other words. They're looking at the thought experiments that people have. And they're looking at other guys and they're trying to form a consensus. Consensus is not science. No, not at all. In fact, it's the opposite. If you encounter, which you will, people that say the scientific consensus is blah blah blah, what they really mean is the scientists who are engaged in political activism agree to blah blah blah, because they're engaged in political activism. As soon as there is a consensus, consensus is not science. That's part of groupthink, and groupthink sometimes translates into political activism. All right. Streaks, but those streaks are not too bad. Why would scientists be involved in political activism? I don't know. It might have something to do with them getting paid or keeping their jobs. Yeah. Especially if they're being funded by people who are also engaged in political activism. Seems to be really weird. There's a really weird thing that happens with people once they get lots of money. They don't know what to do with it, so they go, wait a second. I can affect political matters with this money. I don't know what to do with it. Since I have no imagination, I don't want to be spending the money on trying to invent stuff that might be good for humanity. No. I'm going to do political shenanigans with it. Yeah. Because I got no imagination. How did they get all that money without imagination? They got math smarts, because business is a numbers game. Yeah. You can always find talented people to hire. Once you get the good people hired, there you go. You don't need to be inventive. You just need to be good at math and do the numbers. If I hire XYZ to do ABC, what I get is 1, 2, 3, the numbers. So that's what they're good at. And then once they have lots of money, they go, what am I going to do with it? Ooh, sweet flake. Ooh, little inclusion. Little inclusion. Of course, there's exceptions to all this stuff that I'm talking about as far as political stuff goes. And as far as people with lots of money, there's always the exceptions. There are some that are highly inventive. Yeah. And some people who are paid to be inventive are not very inventive. So there's always exceptions. I'm just trying to talk smack to keep my positive attitude, because I'm getting annoyed at all this crackages and stuff, and it's starting to get thin, so it's getting a little bit dicey. Let's see. All right. Yeah, smoothing this out, smoothing it out did help. Yeah, see, I can do that with the smooth face on this. If it was rougher, I don't get results that good. I don't know why. Why am I using a coarse Abrader on Obsidian when it does a lot of crackly stuff? See all that junk? It's because at this stage, I'm not too worried about it. Once it gets down to a much thinner stage, yeah, I got to be more careful about not making all these crackly little stupid flakes. Yeah. Let's see, is that a loose one? Yeah, that was a loose flake right there. And sometimes I produce those with a braiding stone. Now don't ask me where to get this, because I get this from my friend Don. He has access to huge, gigantic grinding wheels, industrial size. Because he's a manager of an asphalt plant, and he's able to get all kinds of waste from the processes that they use. I think that grinding stone is one of those things they throw out after a while. All right, and then they, you know, break them up and we can use them. Nappers can use those. Yes, yes, yes. But don't ask me how to get it, because it's a scrounge item. We scrounged for it. Yeah, dumpster diving. Go dumpster diving. See what you can find for napping. Let us know. Some of you guys live near bunches of dumpsters, like me. I used to go dumpster diving for bottles. I couldn't really find a lot of bottles though. I never was able to find a big cache or stash of bottles. Once in a while here and there. I think the restaurants around here wrap the bottles really well in plastic or something, then dump them, because I could never find very many of the large bottles. The small ones, yeah. The small beer bottles, yeah. But the ones that are, the bottles that are interesting for making arrowheads are the big ones. The big 40 ounce or more, 2 liter, whatever. All right, this is getting to the point where to have a little bit more of a smooth edge, a little bit more of a tiptoe through the tulips type of strikes before I switch over to indirect percussion. Now, is this typical to have this size of a biface from that big old honking piece of obsidian? It depends on the quality of the stone. This had a lot of cracks on one end, so I lost some of that end, right? I think the length, I preserved a lot of the length. This is 5 3/8, a little bit more. Yeah, so I don't know, should I go on to another piece? Or should I continue with this? Let me think. What can I make out of this football shape? I can make a knife blade. It's not going to be as long as this one. But you see how I can make this a tang here and then dish it out and then take a lot of this off. But when I start taking this off, I can run flakes in here to thin. And then I got to straighten the back side. And when I'm doing that, I can also send in flakes to thin that way. And then get a little bit shorter blade than this. Yeah, maybe an inch shorter when all is said and done. 3/4 of an inch shorter. But you can see how much I need to lose. Dish this out and lose a bunch. But I can make it wider, of course. But it gives you an idea of what I could do with it. Otherwise, I've got to figure out what type of point would be good. Make a Clovis. Yeah. I don't like always making Clovises. I'm not a Clovis guy, I guess, if there is such a thing. Okay, I gotta remove this lump here. Let's move some of these flakes out of the way in the background. All right, we're gonna pause here for a word from our sponsor. What is our sponsor? Me, I am the sponsor. Well, now that I'm running ads on my videos, I don't know what the sponsors are. But we're not going to get a word from our sponsors yet, because I make sure that these videos run without ads in the middle. Yeah. So the only sponsor you're going to get in the middle is me. Yep. I need a jingle for Jack Crafty, or Jack Crafty Studios. I just looked into hiring, or there's a website called Fiverr. Yeah. I don't want to promote the site because I can't get into it. I can't, I try to verify my email. I think I can't get my email verified by phone. I got to be on my computer. Anyway, I was trying to get onto there to see if I can hire some people to do merch, and it's not that expensive. I looked up. You can download the app and look, and there's people that'll offer their services. Anyway, I couldn't get verified on my phone. And maybe someone can tell me why that is. I can get on my computer now that I fixed it, so that's not a big deal. I hate the fact that I cannot get verified, and that same thing happened to me on TikTok. Can't get verified on my phone. Sometimes all I got is my phone because I travel. I don't like carrying my computer around everywhere, but it looks like I'm going to have to. Anyway, maybe there's some guys that make jingles. I imagine there is, because you can get anything now. All these side hustles cover every single possible service you could ever want. People got side hustles of their side hustles. Side hustles within their side hustles. You can hire anyone for anything nowadays. I was amazed. I don't even have to write my own books. I'm going, no, this is way too easy. You mean I can just pay somebody, maybe a couple $1,000 and they'll write a book for me? Holy moly. That's amazing. Me, I've been trying to write a book for, I don't know, for 5 years I've been trying to figure out, or not figure out, but try to make time to sit down and format a book so I can publish it. I got a bunch of notes and all that kind of stuff. I just haven't put it together on Flintknapping. And it turns out I can just hire somebody. I just give him all my notes. They'll format the book, do the editing, put in a few illustrations, and just write the whole thing off my notes. I just need to pay him. I'm going, dang. I didn't want to see that. I feel like I've lost all that time and I can't get it back. Could have done it sooner. Yeah, a lot of times you don't want to know what you didn't know before, because then you look back in time and you go, dang it, all this time and I didn't know, or I was ignorant. Yeah. Now, do I want someone to write a Flintknapping book for me? No, I do not. They're not going to get it right. So I got to make sure my notes are in order and rewrite them. Make sure they're up to date. Because there's a lot of stuff I don't do anymore, or I've changed my mind on Flintknapping. Things I've expanded on some techniques and that sort of thing since I was writing my notes. Some of my definitions have changed slightly, because I wrote a glossary of a bunch of definitions, Flintknapping definitions that I got off of various archaeological studies. Because you not only want to know the definitions of the lingo within Flintknapping, you want to know the definitions of the lingo within archaeology, specifically lithic studies, or studies of stone tools. You want to know that lingo. So I wrote a glossary. Probably include it in a book eventually, but I gotta revise it. Yep. And yeah, once I revise it, I'll probably have someone assemble it all together and publish, or get it ready for publishing. That way I just need to get the PDF and upload it to the book publishing site. Easy peasy. I didn't want to know how easy it was. No. I wanted a good excuse for not doing it yet. Yep. I want excuses. I don't like not having excuses. Is this exciting news? Is it exciting? Well, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know it's not exciting because I say I'm going to get to something and I never get to it. Yeah. My dad has the same issue, and I found out, dang it, I inherited it. I worked with my dad for a year or so, and I found what is genetic and what isn't, or whatever. He'll sit on a project for years. He won't forget it. He'll just sit on it and eventually get to it. And I saw him get to one while we were working together. And he says, you know what? I've been waiting to do this particular thing for like 10 years. Really? Yeah. 10 years? Sounds like me, man. Dad? Sounds like me, Dad. Yeah. That's depressing. I gotta think of something else. Yeah, see, depressing made me mess up. See how bad that is? If I'm not in the right frame of mind. No, that was just because I was being careful not to hit it too hard. And you know what happens if you hold back a little bit, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it won't go very far. I gotta be careful because it's curved a little bit. I thought I was being cool by removing that flake, but it installed a slight curve. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I've got a box that I've been holding on to for many years. And on that box it says Guillermo's Rocks. If you're watching Guillermo, I'm going to do a video on your rocks very soon. He sent me some artifacts many years ago. But it's been sitting next to me for many years. I've got it right there on the table on the left this time. Sitting there. And all that time I was up in Vermont, I had that box sitting next to me. All that time I was sitting in my other shop, I had that box sitting next to me. Sometimes it would be in storage for a little while, then I'd come back out, sit, and I'd put it next to me. I keep looking at the artifacts, and I cannot figure out, to this day, even after all these years of looking at those, I can't figure out why they did certain things. What the heck is this artifact? What is it? I can't figure it out. So yeah, I need to go through that box and just do the best I can, and do it soon. Yep. I need to move on from that to all the other stuff I've had on the back burner for years. Yep. Because if I start taking deeper dives into various flint knapping topics and techniques, I can't have any other things on the back burner. I've got to spend a lot of time doing research. If I have too many distractions, I'll never get to the research. And it's not only research, but it's research and development. I've got to do testing off camera, do a little bit of practicing off camera on various things, like the heat treating. This week I'm going to have to practice a little bit on the heat treating. over an open fire. It's been a while since I've done it. And stuff like that. So that I can do it smoothly on video. Yeah, smooth. Slick. So it looks like I know what I'm doing. Yeah. And then I do it, and it still doesn't look like I know what I'm doing. It still looks like I'm winging it, because, yeah, I usually am just winging it. Anyway, I cannot foresee everything that'll come up in the video. I might actually drop some heat treat stones into the fire and go, oh dang, I don't have anything to retrieve that piece out of the fire quick enough. That sort of thing. And then I ruined it. Yep. But the easiest way to do it is over an open fire. It's not the most effective or the best. It's just the easiest. Especially if you find yourself in a situation where you don't want to spend a whole lot of money doing it. Like, you know, the electric bill gets pretty high if you do a lot of heat treats with electricity. Just so you know. Running that turkey oven or a turkey roaster for 12 hours, that's a good chunk of change. You'll see it will affect your electric bill. You do, 2 or 3 of those 12-hour heat treats in a month, you'll see a difference. And you'll say to yourself, I'll never recover from all the expenses that I had to make over the years. Dang it. If you're worried about that kind of thing, Flintknapping will gobble up some money. I suppose just like anything else. But yeah, just be aware that the heat treating thing costs a little bit of money. A little bit. It's not too bad. But if you don't want to spend any money, you can do it over an open fire. Yeah. Depending on how much it costs you for the firewood. I realize some of you can't get firewood for free, so gotta buy bags of charcoal or something. I don't know. So yeah, I'm just whittling this down slowly. Can you see what I'm doing? Just opportunistically thinning here and there and trying to get the ends in line with a center line. Center line is pretty well established. If I look at the end here and the end here, I can draw a line between the two, and it's easily between everything. There's a slight dip here, which is a mistake early on, but I think I can get it straightened out. I can thin it down. It's still not too thin right there. It's still got some meat on it right there. So I'm not that worried about it. I just got to be very careful about further large flakes, which I do need some large flakes in here. Let's see how it compares again to this blade. Have I lost a lot of length? I haven't lost that much. Looks like I lost about 1/8 of an inch, probably off of this side. It adds up. 1/8 of an inch every so often will add up to a whole inch pretty soon. If you keep losing it. Alright. Now this stuff, sometimes it naps really well and sometimes it's unpredictable. And I think what happens is in the areas where it's got a lot of streaks, like right there where I just tried to remove a flake, I think the streaks may resist it somewhat. I think. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm having to be very careful through that area. Because I have to hit hard, but I don't want to hit too hard. And there's a lot of grinding involved in obsidian knapping in general. Dang it. I don't see when it has that little dip in it. I just knocked off too many flakes, so I gotta remove that. Yeah. Can you see from this distance? No? Probably can't see from close up either. So I'm not going to zoom in. Alright, what is it doing? I can't tell if those streaks are interfering. This looks a little bit too narrow now, but oh well. Yep, oh well. Just let it go. So the ends, I worked on the ends. There's still a little bit more to go. I might not do the final finishing on video on this one. I know you want closure, but it's too difficult for me to do this properly on video for the finishing. If I were to snap this in half, I would be highly upset with myself. And there's much more chance to snap it in half if I do it on video. I want it to be available tomorrow. So I'll get it to the thin stage. But I won't, well, we'll see. Depends on how long it's taking me. If I encounter some difficulty, it hasn't reached the most difficult stage yet. Once it starts reaching the most difficult stage, if I can't get what I need to get from it while I'm on video, if I'm having too much difficulty, I'm just going to complete it off video. Because it's going to start getting really thin here in a minute. And if it's giving me any kind of trouble, like lots of step fractures or bites sticking out of the sides or anything like that, I'm going to have to do it off camera. And no, I don't have any special techniques. It just allows me to focus more on what I'm doing so I don't miss something or I don't get distracted and remove a flake in the wrong spot. I don't think I did that one right. Yeah, I dug too much in. That's a mistake right there. I hit this way and it caused a slight bite. You see that? That's what I mean by little mistakes. I wasn't paying attention enough on that one. And those bites are caused a lot of times by trying to remove too much. Or I got the tool, the tip of the tool too high up on the workpiece. Something is just not right. Because those can be avoided. As long as you hit the striking area correctly, it won't take out a bite. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Yeah, it's just one of those things that happens and you just really can't do anything about it. But most of the time there are ways to make sure that you're not hitting in such a way that it causes those. I can cause those on purpose. Once you know how to cause them on purpose, you can take steps to not do it. Yeah, once you know how to cause something on purpose, that's the first stage in knowing how to not do it. Like if you can cause a step fracture on purpose, then you just don't do what you just did. That sort of thing. That kind of mentality. Knowing what not to do is useful many times, in addition to knowing what to do. Now, sometimes you'll run into a situation where it's like, well, what not to do means I can't really do what I want to do, because I want to do certain thing that it requires me to do that produces step fractures. Yeah, but I want to be able to do that certain thing without the step fractures. How can I not do it? Yeah. That is a thing. You just got to figure out through practice how to do what you want to do without creating those step fractures. And many times it's different for different people. What works for me to avoid step fractures may not work for you. For instance, oh man, there's always a explain, please. What was that? What will not work for me that works for you? Tell me what I don't know. Yeah. I wish someone could have done that for me too in the beginning. Tell me what might work for you but not for me, because I don't know what's going on. Give me a for instance. I'm trying to think, okay? I'm stalling here. Like this thing with the abrading. This style of abrading might not work for you. With the two different grits that are very much apart from each other. You might only need this fine abrader. You may have a bopper that you're doing this with, or a little billet, and you prefer that rather than scraping with this producing small flakes. You'd rather be doing this. All right, so this might not work for you, this type of abrading, as an example. We're using a thick aluminum, or a larger diameter aluminum tool may not work for you to do this kind of thing that I'm doing right now. I'm thinning it out, but I'm using a large diameter aluminum indirect percussion rod or flaker because it removes larger flakes on average. I like these larger flakes, but you can use a smaller tip and run more narrow type flakes. It's all up to you and what works for you. Using a large flaker can also break the whole piece quite easily. For you might end up breaking the piece very, very often with a large flaker, and you'll say, man, it doesn't work for me. Yeah, it might not work for you to do this kind of thing with a large flaker. You might need to whittle it down little by little until you get used to the larger flaker. How do you get used to a larger flaker without practicing? You can't. You're going to have to break some if you want to get used to it. Nothing says you have to. Nothing says you have to do it in a certain way. There's no, well, there might be a consensus, but don't be concerned with what everyone else is doing. Consensus is not science. It doesn't really get you anywhere. Other than perhaps popular. If you're doing it like everyone else is, they, you know, you become part of that group and they go, yeah, come over here, man. You nap just like us. You're a good dude, man. You nap just like us. We like that. Tell me, how is it going when you nap just like us? How you like it? You better say you like it. Watching you. I took a little bit too much off with that last flake. Yes, yeah, just a little bit too much. That's the danger of the large flakes. So the option is take some off of this, or do I take more off of this here and leave this kind of flat? I think I'm going to take more off of this. Yeah, because it's a little bit thick. Which means this tang is going to get a little bit more narrow. But oh well. I need to make sure I keep it straight. Yeah. I can probably do it with the pressure. Pressure flaker would be safer. Let's see. Alright. I need my other glove. Why do I got two different colors? Because the match to this one is a little bit too stiff. Have not broken it in. And it bugs me. Yep. And whenever I'm being bugged, I can't nap right. All right. Let's see. Heavy pressure. No, not like that. It's releasing too soon. I gotta grind it more. Alright, let's try it again. Alright, a little bit better. Yeah, that flake went from here all the way down. Can you see? It's a pressure flake right there. All the way to there. Nice. Can I do that with indirect percussion? Oh yes. But it's safer to do it with pressure, believe it or not, on this particular spot. I run into trouble when I pressure flake near the middle. Toward the end, it's not so bad. I don't snap it in half. That one went kind of curved a little bit that way. Why? I don't know. Ooh, this pressure flakes so easily. Scary. Scary because I can wipe out a lot of the edge way too fast. No, that didn't do it. Dang it. That one was a good one. So let's see. It's starting to get to where I want it to be, yeah. But it's not doing all that great. Yeah. All right. I don't know. The contour on the surface is not that great. If it was smoother, I could run longer flakes. That's my excuse. Dang it. That tang is not in good shape. But, oh well. I'll just have to lose some length off the tang. Maybe. I'll switch back to indirect percussion, and this time with the smaller diameter steel. Since it's going to be a delicate operation, take the glove off so I can feel what's happening better. And see, that strike was just like a pressure flake. It's right through there. From that corner into there. But I can drive it further with percussion. Theoretically. That one didn't go anywhere. That one caused a step fracture. Mm-hmm. trying to straighten out this backside here. See, I'm going to remove a lot of this here and move the edge that way. I got a lot of mass on this side, so I'm going to try to run flakes over the top of that. I'm going to move the edge more this way on both the top and the bottom, or the back and the front. See, I got to move the edge to that side where the lump is. Okay. It's a little bit crackly. Dang it. All right, I hit the 2-hour mark. The rest of this is more of the same, just tedious nitpicking around the edge. And I took the time to get the final shaping on the tip thickness and the tapering on the tip. I like it to be very nicely tapered. Everywhere else I could have a little bit of wonkiness. But yeah, if I don't have to explain this, I won't drop it either. All right, hold on. All right, let's try to explain this without dropping it. So the rest of this is all tedious edge work. I'm not going to take any more big flakes, even though it looks a little wonky. All right, I could take a big flake on that side. I could take a big flake here somewhere, but it's flat enough. I'll work this edge a little bit better to get straighter. It's pretty straight right now. It's this edge that's going to be a little more difficult. I don't know what I'm going to do about these inclusions on the edge here. There's one inclusion there and one there. If I go past this one, I'm right on that one. So I have to go past that one also. And I don't think I want to even take it back at all. So I might just leave the edge just like this, with a little more picking at it to get it just slightly thinner. Yeah, I might pick at it just a little bit more, but I doubt it. I'll just leave it the way it is. I might take it back just slightly to make it look more smooth and not so jaggedy. But I am taking the back. I'm going to take this back. All right, let's see. I still got too many itches. Anyway, I'm going to cut the video right here. This should be good enough. It's just more of the same. There's nothing else to explain. Just more of the same tedious edge work. I think you got enough of it. Hopefully you got an eyeball full of tedious edge work. And once in a while I'll take a big bold flake. But that's it. There's going to be no more bold flakes. It's all going to be tedious edge work. Now, I'll do that off camera so I don't mess it up. Like I said, I'm just going to smooth this out with little bitty flakes. Back and forth depending on where I need to straighten it. I wanted the whole edge to be like this thin, but it gets bulky right here, right where those inclusions are. Because I don't want to take any flakes in there where those inclusions are. The surrounding areas tend to be a little bit messed up also. And I could tell on this particular piece that those areas around the inclusions were kind of inconsistent. We'll see. In the process of me finishing this out by making it smoother, I might encounter more problems and knock out a few bigger divots like that, and that, in which case I got to take it back even further, and then maybe I'll send a flake inward to make this part of the edge as thin as this part. The tip is thin as well, but it's just this part where those inclusions are that I was not too keen on sending flakes from this edge inward. That's why it's still thick right here. And it happens to be right in the middle too. Right where it's easiest to snap it in half if I start shooting flakes from there. I could take it back a whole lot just like I did on this one. Oh, I didn't tell you. Remember on the previous video I had a fingernail step fracture there? Or I worked this back off camera enough to where I could pop that out. Just for that one step fracture, I took off about a 1/16 of an inch or an 1/8 of an inch. I could do the same thing with this and contour this one like this one is. See how this one dips inward here? I could put a dip in this one as well and then get rid of those inclusions. But it's already 2 hours. I'm pretty fed up with this one at this particular moment in time. So I'll set this aside, work on something else, and then come back to it. I may just scoop this whole area out that has those inclusions in it, send in some more flakes, and that way I can have a thin edge this thin all the way down to the tip. But we'll see. I might not mess with it and just leave it wide. Yeah. It's best to leave it wide anyway because it has less chance of snapping. I don't know. Those inclusions are bugging me though. They're only 1/8 of an inch inward, so it wouldn't look bad if I took off 1/8 of an inch. Yeah. Yeah, I could do it. Yep, I still got room. So, we'll see. You'll see it in the auction. I'm not going to work on it anymore on video. Okay. Here it is. I didn't break it, so it ended up all right. Okay.